The mining station Kepler 442b hummed with the controlled chaos of a dozen species working in reluctant harmony. Captain Sarah Chen watched from the observation deck as Zephyrian engineers guided massive ore extractors with their 4 arms, while insectoid clicking workers scuttled between support beams, their chittering communication echoing through the metallic corridors. But it was the Vorthak pack that commanded the most attention. 8 feet of rippling muscle and predatory grace, the Vorthak had earned their reputation as the galaxy's most feared hunters. Their pack structure was absolute. Challenge the Alpha, and you either won leadership or died trying. No middle ground, no mercy. Kextar, the current Alpha, lounged near the central hub like a coiled spring of violence. His obsidian scales caught the artificial light, and his 6 yellow eyes tracked every movement with calculated precision. The other miners gave his pack a wide berth, which was exactly how Kextar preferred it. Soft Skin approaches, growled. One of his subordinates, Veltar, nodding toward Sarah as she descended from the observation platform. Kextar's head swiveled, studying the human with predatory interest. Humans were still relatively new to galactic civilization, barely 2 centuries since first contact. Most species considered them curiosities at best, nuisances at worst. Physically unremarkable, technologically behind, lacking natural weapons or armor. Perfect prey. Sarah walked with unhurried confidence, her mining supervisor badge glinting on her uniform. She'd dealt with Vorthak before, knew their customs, their pride, their need to establish dominance. What she also knew, and they didn't, was that humans had their own ways of being apex predators. Alpha Kextar, she said, stopping just outside. His personal space, close enough to show respect, far enough to avoid triggering his territorial instincts. We need to discuss the quota adjustments for Sector 7. Kextar rose slowly, his massive frame unfolding like a nightmare-given form. Around them, the station's background noise seemed to fade as other species sensed the tension building. The Soft Skin gives orders now? His voice was a low rumble, each word precisely enunciated through his elongated jaw. Perhaps the human forgets her place in the hierarchy. Sarah's expression didn't change. I'm not giving orders, Alpha. I'm requesting a meeting between equals. The Vorthak pack exchanged glances. Equals? Several began to circle, their movements fluid and coordinated. Other species throughout the mining station stopped their work, sensing the shift in atmosphere. Kextar's laugh was like grinding stone. Equals, your species is soft, weak, without fang or claw. You have no pack, no strength, no honor earned in blood. He stepped closer, towering over her. In Vorthak culture, strength determines hierarchy. I am Alpha because none can challenge my dominance. Interesting, Sarah said, her voice steady. So if I proved stronger than you, by your own customs you'd have to acknowledge it? The station fell silent. Kextar's eyes narrowed to slits. In 300 years of life, no prey species had ever issued such a challenge. The audacity was almost amusing. Almost. You wish to challenge me, Soft Skin? Very well. By combat law of the Vorthak, you may choose the nature of our contest. But know this. When you lose, and you will lose, you become property of my pack. Your life, your position, your authority, all mine. Sarah nodded slowly. And if I win? Impossible. Humor me. Kextar's massive chest rumbled with dark amusement. If you somehow achieved the impossible, then by our laws, I would acknowledge your dominance. But choose wisely, human. I am trained in 17 forms of combat, have killed prey on 43 worlds, and have never known defeat. The crowd pressed closer. Humans were beloved across the galaxy for their entertainment value, but this was beyond mere spectacle. This was a death wish with witnesses. Sarah was quiet for a long moment, studying the Alpha with the same intensity he'd shown her. Then she smiled, not with humor, but with the cold calculation of a predator who'd found their moment. I choose. Staring contest. The words hung in the air like a physical presence. Several species made sounds of confusion, clicking, chittering, Low hoots of bewilderment. A staring contest against a Vorthak? Kekstar blinked in surprise and immediately realized his mistake. No blinking, Sarah said quietly. First to blink loses. Those are the rules, right? The Alpha's 6 eyes widened in shock. In Vorthak culture, the staring contest was sacred. A test of pure will, determination, and mental dominance. By their own laws, he'd already lost. But it was worse than that, and Sarah could see the realization dawning in his alien features. She'd studied Vorthak physiology extensively. Their 6 eyes were designed for tracking multiple prey simultaneously, but the trade-off was devastating. They couldn't control their blink reflex independently. When one eye blinked, they all blinked. Humans, with their binocular vision and independent eyelid control, could maintain eye contact longer than almost any species in the galaxy. It was a quirk of evolution that had seemed utterly useless until this moment. Sarah stood perfectly still, her gaze locked on Keksitar's central pair of eyes, unblinking, unwavering. The Vorthak Alpha fought desperately against his own biology, but seconds stretched into eternity. His eyes began to water, and finally, inevitably, his instincts betrayed him. All 6 eyes blinked in perfect synchronization. The silence that followed was absolute. Slowly, with movements that spoke of profound respect, Kekstar lowered himself to one knee. His pack followed suit, their massive forms genuflecting before the small human who'd outmaneuvered their leader with nothing but knowledge and patience. Alpha Sarah, Kekstar said, his voice filled with something approaching awe. I acknowledge your dominance. The pack recognizes your strength. Sarah nodded once, then extended her hand, not in aggression, but in partnership. Rise, Kekstar. I don't want to lead your pack. I want to work with you as equals. True equals. As the Vorthak Alpha slowly stood, accepting her gesture of alliance, word began to spread throughout the station, then the sector, then across the galaxy's communication networks. Humanity had just redefined what it meant to be apex predators, not through fang or claw, but through the most dangerous weapon of all, intelligence paired with an absolutely unshakable will to win. The mining quotas for Sector 7 were adjusted without further discussion.